Welcome back. I have eGit installed on Eclipse. I also have the GitHub program UI installed. So let's start with GitHub. Let me log out. This is the main screen for GitHub. It's just github.com. You'll have to pick a user ID, give your email and a password. This is for a new account. After this is complete, I need to add you as a member of our organization, our group, or basically our team for the class. All I did, I went through and I deleted the test repositories I've been working with. So it's almost gonna look at them starting from scratch. All I have is a user account and password, and this is my user account and password. No, I'm not gonna show you my password, but my user account. As it stands, I don't have any repositories or any memberships. I could the way this works, I could have multiple. I could subscribe to multiple organizations. Some things are pay and some things are not pay. I'm not paying for this. This will be clear when I show you what I'm talking about. So CIS 475 is the owner. The repository name I'm going to call it is for right now class project, and I'm going to say this is a sample class project. It's public. If I make it private, I have to pay. So I'm not paying. It's public as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to initialize the repository with a README file, basically a small text file to subscribe or to describe the project, and it'll be set at the root. Let me create the repository. So far, so good. I've got one commit, one branch, no tags, one contributor so far. That makes sense, just me. There's a file called readme.md, and that's what's in the file. Just this is a class project and the description I made. If I want to, that is going to be the HTTPS URL, and we'll talk about how to connect that to Eclipse or that other program GitHub for Windows. Pretty cool. There's already a branch. So what is a branch and tag? This is something that's very common when it comes to source code control. A tag would be, let's start with a branch. A branch is, let's say your source code checked in, your original version of your source code. Now, originally the source code, some places call it a trunk, which is like the repository itself is called the trunk. Just like the relationship between the trunk and a trunk can have many branches. You could have many branches of code. So if we had, let's say we did a complete release, or we had an existing piece of software, right, that was already deployed, it may be under branch January 2014. I might also then have a branch for February 2014. Once I make my changes, add screens and so forth, I'll create another branch. A tag would be sort of like a sub branch, if you will. So if I wanted to create sort of a snapshot of what a branch would look like, we'll get into tags later. But right now, when you first create a repository, it gives you an initial branch, and they call the branch master. So far, so good. If I look at my profile, I'm already signed in, so I can go to CS 475. I see the repository class project. Let me go to edit my profile. I've got a few things under here. One's SSH keys. When you check in or when you set up your Eclipse session to do pushes to GitHub, you can use SSH keys to do the check-in without doing the user password. For right now, we'll talk about that later. Account settings, emails. I'm subscribed to this, so anytime anybody checks in code, it'll send me an email to my university ID. So right there, participating when you're participating in a conversation and someone brings you in with an app mention, it'll email me. The watching tells me whether or not there was a check-in or not. If I decided to pay for it, which I'm not, but let's say I wanted 50 different private repositories. It would cost me $50 a month. 5 different private repositories with $7 a month. So far, again, it's free. So let's take the payment history. Cares about that. Security history. This is everything. I really shouldn't show you my IP address, but my IP address logging in, all the times I forgot my user and password and I had to request a password reset. I don't have any applications deployed, but if I had an application deployed to be there. The repositories, you just saw me create the class project repository. And organizations, I don't have an organization yet, so I'm going to create one. And that organization, I'm going to call it UD CIS 475 Spring 2014. And again, I'm not paying for it, so I'm going to choose that. I'm going to create my organization. Oh, doesn't it like? Okay, I have to, even though there's no chance of me ever paying for this, I'll give them a billing email. Create an organization. Anyone you want to add as a team member, okay? So right now, but when I'm creating this video, there aren't any team members because you don't have GitHub accounts, but eventually, very, very soon, you're going to email me each your account, and I'm going to add you as a member of this organization. So when you check in and out code, I'll know about it and it'll be part of the team. So far, so good. Okay, so let's go to class project again. Pull requests. So pull request is, remember this is public, which we're not doing anything that's, mission critical here that needs to be private, but this is public. Anybody can pull anything from our repository. Just as if you can go to GitHub and start exploring around and finding things to download. If you wanted to find, believe me when I tell you, if there's something you're trying to find how to do in any language, you can find it on GitHub. Someone has got an example posted. It's a very useful site to know. Okay, so far so good. A commit. Once you'll see, let's take a look at Eclipse real quick. So let's go to Eclipse. Let me close these guys. I'm going to remove these repositories. Again, they're just samples, so it's all good. Now the way it works is when you have Eclipse and checking in and out code. Okay, so when you work in Eclipse, you're working on a local version. It doesn't matter. This isn't an Eclipse Java thing. This is how programming works these days. When you're working on it in development, you're working on a local version. The code is on your machine. You're not connected to the machine in real time with the source repository. The source repository is a system of record where the source code is checked in and checked out of. Okay, they're not edited in place. They're once you're done or once you're completed a program, you purposefully check it into that repository. Let's see if that makes any sense. Sorry about that. I just paused it for a second. Let me create a new servlet. All right. See, there it is, servlet. And I'm going to call it, well, actually a new project. Let me do that first. All right. New dynamic web project. And dynamic class project. I'm just going to use the Apache Tomcat that we previously installed. No other changes. Click next. I don't have any other source to import while I'm doing this. And give it a finish. Thanks for a second. The next step is going to be creating a servlet, just a simple servlet. I go to dynamic class project new servlet. I want to call my package com.package.servlet. Okay, my new servlet. No changes there. I'm going to get rid of the do post and do get method and just use the service method and finish. So it gives me a sample servlet, servlet class. Excuse me. Let's see if I can run this. It's going to ask me to choose my existing server. You get the screen. If you click this, you would only get it once. It's not going to ask you over and over again to use Tomcat. Click next. Okay, I don't care about the My Dynamic project. I don't think that was just something else I was working on. Okay, I should get a blank web page. It's not going to show me much, but it's going to be a blank web page, and that's what I was looking for. Let me stop this. I know that the program works. Very good. So now I don't have this connected to any sort of repository. This is just code that's sitting on my machine. I didn't check it into a repository. So let's go to team. I right click the dynamic class, go to team, share project. We're going to use Git. I don't have a repository. I'm going to create a repository. I'm going to call it dynamic class project repo. I can call whatever I want. There's naming conventions. You can't have spaces, that sort of thing. So far, I'm going to give it a finish. It's going to create a repository for me, and everything else looks good. I'm going to say finish. It should have created a repository, and I'm going to do my initial commit, which means save to that repository. I'm going to right-click again. Now when I go to team, I'll see a whole bunch of other choices. Remember here before it was just new repository, whatever it was, or under team it was select repository, I think. Now you have a bunch of different options. I commit, and I give a commit message, my initial save. I'm going to select all and say commit. Awesome. So I'm going to pause this for right now. The next video, because you can only do so many minutes. The next video is going to be how to check that into the Git repository.